son of a bitch. Well,
Can you edit that, please?
Shh. Well, it's Saturday, and here we are with our weekly used car market report.
God, that was loud. I really gotta work on the gain. The mic's close. We got these new filters. We've got a cell phone here.
Yeah, we got a cell because we have a guest, the mysterious Chris McGuire, who you've often heard me refer to as my inside source in the car business, is actually joining us by cell phone today. You asked for it. You're getting it.
Chris, why don't you say hello to the 2 or 3 folks that are watching?
Yeah.
This is Chris McGuire, and hello. It's a great day, and very excited to be on the call.
Yeah, Chris. Well, we're happy to have you, Dad. Why don't you give a little bit of some background information as to who Chris is, why we trust him, and all that fun stuff.
I just found him on the internet. I don't know a damn thing about him. No, actually, Chris and I work together at the mini store and the Audi store, and Chris has been in the used car business, mostly the wholesale side of things, for what, close to 30 years now, Chris?
30 years plus.
Wow. And on the retail side, the last, 6 or 7 years?
Correct.
Okay. And when it comes to someone that has expertise and inside knowledge as to what's going on at the auctions and what's going on in the used car market, there's no one that I know of that has their finger on the pulse quite like Chris does.
Thank you.
Well, it's only because it's true, Chris.
So my role today is phone holder and third wheel. I'm going to open it up to both of you guys to just kind of walk us through. I mean, I was reading automotive news. I've got the Fixed Stops Journal sitting right in front of me here. But what's going on in the market right now, Chris?
With a Volvo key on the cover.
Yeah.
That should tell you everything you need to know.
So, Chris, what's your kind of high level, what's going on in the market right now?
You know, the used car market is extremely competitive right now. It's very strong. There's more buyers than vehicles at this point coming into the market. Usually sometime after the 4th of July, that should correct itself somewhat. But prices are definitely strong. You know, it's a very competitive market. Auction prices are above normal because there isn't enough product to feed the demand, and you know that's what it's all about: supply and demand. And we just see, because of the virus, I think we see a lot of new used car buyers in the market that haven't bought a car in quite a while, and they've made the decision to purchase a car because they want to have their own transportation and do not want to rely on Uber or a rental car any longer.
Chris, just out of curiosity, do you see this phenomenon being more regionalized, or is it something that seems to be across the board, with some areas of the country actually seeing perhaps maybe a slight decline in what dealers are asking for cars, but predominantly a nationwide phenomenon?
You know, it is a nationwide phenomenon, and it's stronger in some parts of the country than others, but it is everywhere. It's just the demand will be stronger on the East Coast just because of population than it would be in the Midwest, but it's everywhere. Texas, you can tell when you're at the auction or you're bidding on a digital wholesale auction. You'll see cars in New Jersey that are being bid upon by dealers in Texas, which, you know, it's $1,000 to get the car out of New Jersey to Dallas. It's not like you can get it there for $200. It's quite expensive, you know. So, you know, a guy buying a used Toyota and is going to pay $1,000 to get it to Dallas. That tells me there's no hybrid Avalons in Dallas. So, you know.
Wow, that's some scary stuff when you think about it, because that would indicate to me that they're anticipating being able to sell these cars at a much higher retail number than they had in the past. I know one of our viewers is actually a salesman at a used car dealership in the Houston area, and he's saying that the business is just going nuts. Profits are higher than they've been, and they can't keep cars in stock. It's just been unbelievable.
You know, it's funny. Just before this call, the general manager of a store in D.C., who used to work for the organization I work for now, called me and was asking me, like, where can I find used cars without paying too much money? And my response to him was, you can't. This is the new market. I don't know how long this market will last. And in a retail sense, we're really only talking like $1,000, $1,500. We're not talking $10,000, So, you might pay $1,000 more for the car you really want, but over a 5-year note or a 4-year note, it's $20. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's not.
It doesn't add up to much when you factor it across 4 or 5 years.
Right, it's like gap insurance, So the consumer's not going to see it as much as an impact as we see it, because it affects our bottom line every month, because it's a month-to-month business. So it has a drastic effect. But he called me up. He's like, I can't buy any used cars. I said, well, welcome to the game.
And I'm guessing if you knew where he could buy them, you weren't going to tell him that.
Well, that too, because I have I need a lot of cars.
Yeah.
Well, so Chris, can you put that into perspective for the people that are watching this? I mean, so your job, just in layman's terms, is to buy used cars so that the dealerships for the group that you work for can sell them, obviously. How many cars are you buying in any given day or week versus how many you'd like to be buying in any given day or week in this environment?
Well, there's I have 2 guys that work for me, under me, and we buy 50 cars a week. We should be buying 100 cars a week.
Wow.
But we can't. And we're probably down 400 cars right now.
Wow.
I could buy 400 cars tomorrow, and I might be like close to where I should be. That's how stiff the competition is. It's just there's just not enough cars. Now, just so your viewers know, if you're going to go and buy a new car, you don't want to wait till next year. You kind of have to go and do it now, because Toyota will actually run out of new cars nationwide around August 1st. They're going to be out of cars for about 3 weeks.
Can you and my dad talk a little bit about days market supply or market day supply and that concept, and how it impacts the way dealerships price? I guess, Dad, do you want to go first and then Chris reinforce? Because I think that concept, for someone who wasn't in the industry and once I understood what that meant and how dealers operate around it, it's pretty powerful stuff.
Well, the market day supply is really pretty simple. If you normally operate on having, say, a 3-month supply of new cars or a 4-month supply of new cars, and that market day supply, due to lack of production, in this case because of the pandemic, suddenly drops down to 35 or 40 days. Well, what that indicates is that if you keep selling your cars at the normal rate of travel that you have, well, you're going to be out of cars in 35 to 40 days, which means that every one of those cars becomes that much more valuable because there's not a replacement car just waiting to come in right around the corner. It's not normal times. I remember at the mini store at one point, we were down to about 12 or 15 cars left in inventory, new cars left in inventory. So if you came in looking for a car, a specific car, A, you weren't getting that car, you were getting whatever we had, and B, you didn't even have the nerve to ask for a discount because you knew we couldn't replace the car. So, it might be 4 or 5 or 6 weeks before we would have a replacement new car to sell for the one we just sold. So they become like hen's teeth. I mean, they just they're kind of rare. So you're going to pay. It's supply and demand. It's really the most basic of economic strategies. Chris?
Yeah, and I agree. This supply and demand situation with new and used has taken the entire automotive industry by surprise. I mean, nobody saw it coming. Nobody knew how to react to it. And now, everybody's reacting. They have cars, they just go out and buy more, figuring, well, this is the market. I mean, I take a little different look at it. I mean, I'm still buying cars, but I'm working twice as hard to buy the same amount of cars, but I'm keeping my price structure about where I want it to be, instead of just going out and paying too much. I got my guys working very hard to make sure we don't do that. And, when you're looking at hundreds of cars a day, it's the old theory, you throw enough stuff up against the wall, something will stick, and by the end of the day, we always end up with, 10 cars, and they're 10 good cars. I'd rather have 10 good cars than 10 good and 10 not so good.
Can I ask you guys a question and speak to it as much or as little as you want to? I don't want to cross any lines, but can you talk about on the wholesale side that pricing strategy right now? Because Ray and Dad and I have talked a lot about V Auto in the past and how dealers use that to set their prices, and everyone who's tried to buy a used car has had the dealers send them the V Auto price sheet that says, we're ranked first in our market, we're at 98% of market. Is that what you're using as well on the wholesale side when you're considering buying these from auction, Chris?
Yes, the way, yes, because, V Auto or whatever gadget you use, they're all the same. I mean, if you actually want to sell your car within 30 days, you need to be within top 10 in V Auto, say, or top 10 in cars.com. And that car actually will sell within 30 days. It's a statistical, proven time and time again. If you're on page 5 of cars.com, your car's not selling within 30 days. Page 5 might become page 1 in 60 days, So that's why, it really does, V Auto does dictate the market, and it dictates the pricing, because to be top 10 in V Auto, your price has to be the best, so.
Definitely.
Just out of curiosity, Chris, I know our viewers have heard me talk about used car aging policies and things of that nature. The group that you work for, do they work on a 60-day turn or a 90-day turn? That if the car hasn't sold within that time frame, then it must go to the sale and you must liquidate it. What's the aging policy for the group that you work for?
Our aging policy is 90 days, and what we'll do is after 90 days or even after 60 days, we will, after 30 days, we'll send a manager out to look at the car and find out maybe we missed something, an odor, we didn't fix something right, something's wrong with the car. Once we figure out that's not the problem, then we look at the pictures. We try to, last thing we want to do is lower the price. So we make sure everything's perfect with the car before we do that. At 45 days, we do lower the price. At 60 days, we'll lower the price again. And at 90 days, we'll take the car and we'll send it to another store.
Gotcha.
So if it's at the Nissan store, we'll send it to the Toyota store or whatever, and we'll sell it to the Toyota store for what the new market is. The new market could be, hey, just, send it across the street or whatever, because the market dictates that price, so there is no adjustment. Then other cars, the Nissan store will have to lose $1,000 and send it over to the Toyota store. So if they own it for 9, we'll sell it to the Toyota store for 8.
Gotcha.
Because that's the market. We don't want to flip cars around to other stores just to do the dog and pony show. If we're gonna send a car over to the Toyota store, we want the Toyota store to take it into their inventory, current wholesale market value. You know, so if I have to go pay $8,000 for the car at the auction, that's what we'll take it into inventory for.
That makes perfect sense, and I know a lot of our viewers aren't necessarily sure that a lot of the stuff that I talk about is accurate. Um, because what the hell, I'm a car guy. I'm probably just lying to them about everything. But yeah, dealerships have aging policies on their used cars because they need to turn them, and if the car goes down in value, the dealer has to accept the fact that today's market price could be significantly less than what it was 90 days ago, and you can't sell it to your other store for the same price if your used car manager at that store wouldn't have agreed to buy it for that price in today's market. So it's not just moving things around; it's moving things around and adjusting the values as they need to be adjusted. Let's say one of those cars that after 90 days got shipped from the Nissan store to the Toyota store, and then if after the next 90 days it still hasn't sold, will they at that point just tell you take it to the sale and get rid of it, turn it into cash, or are we going to look at moving it to a third store within the group?
Nah, it never makes it to usually never makes it to the third store. Um, we have daily team meetings, phone calls with the used car managers. I probably do 2 a day. And we go over VDPs. We go over what's being, especially when the car hits the 60-day bucket, we call it.
Sure.
All eyes are on that car. So if the Toyota store has 10 cars in the 60-day bucket, we're all on it. We analyze the car. We analyze the market, and I can assure you by the time that hits 90 days, it either, like I said, it goes to another store or it's priced right. Even when it goes to the new store at a reduced value and a reduced price even further, we pretty make sure it's like, when it goes to the second store, we make sure it's number one. I mean, there's no way that car will not sell.
Got it.
We don't want to take it to the auction because that doesn't help us. Give somebody a nice car. If it's we're big into just making sure the car retails, because then you get a chance of maybe a little F&I profit. You pick up a service customer, and you get a trade.
Exactly, and yeah, viewers have said to me, well, why don't they just lose money and sell to a customer? And in many cases, a dealership would prefer to do that than to ever have to take the car to the sale, because when you take the car to the sale, you've lost your finance opportunity, you've lost your parts and service opportunities, you've lost the opportunity to add a customer to your group that could buy many cars, not just that one car. So, yeah, I get it that you would rather find a retail buyer for that car than ever find a wholesale buyer.
But back to, I just want to briefly, Chris, I just want to share. I mean, so with you both talking about where we are right now, or kind of like general strategies around used cars, where are we right now? I mean, I can't imagine that you're struggling to sell used cars, right? Like that, you've got the opposite problem, correct?
Well, what's going to happen. It's well, 2 things. If anybody listening to this is looking to trade their car in, I highly recommend they trade it in the next 6 weeks, because used car values have never, on the wholesale side, have never been this high, ever. And dealers will actually, good dealers who need used cars like myself have dictated to all the used car managers, you don't let a nice car leave. If I'm going to pay $10,000 at the auction for this car, give the guy 10.5. Just get the car, because I buy it at the auction for 10. Then the auction fee, we're going to own the car for like 11.2 by the time it gets back here. So, pay up for your trades, especially if you can retail them, because we're having a hard time buying them at the auction.
Makes perfect sense.
And then if
And
you
the
are
car's
in the
right
market,
the car's right at your door.
yeah. And then if you are in the market to buy a used car right now, maybe would your recommendation be if you're price hunting, like cool down for a couple weeks
You know, as I said before, the price has probably only gone up $1,000
on the retail?
and
Yeah.
on the retail, and it's not going to have that big of an impact on the sale of the car. You know, and it's kind of funny that like Toyota's probably going to run out of new cars, sometime in August, but there's still a $2,500 rebate on Camrys or whatever, so at 0.9% financing. So obviously Toyota's looking at, well, maybe we'll be out of cars for a week or so, but they're building them again, and they're doing everything in their power to avoid that problem. You know what I mean? So that problem might not happen, and if it does happen, Toyota is going to make sure it's a very short-lived problem.
Well, because that's a big problem when when you don't have inventory to sell.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. There you have it. That's kind of the state of the used car market right now, and some insights into how a true professional, because you're not. Well, no, you are
Well,
that.
there's
Used
at
to
least
be.
one true professional on this conversation, and it's neither Zach or myself
Yeah.
at this point. So.
But there you have it. Some insights.
Hey, Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, anytime.
Okay, next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday.